Greetings, friends. This Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and tomorrow in Sunday services, we will be honoring the great Coretta Scott King, an amazing, amazing woman in her own right. The more I learn about her, the more impressed I am with her power, her integrity, her beauty. And very much associated with the civil rights movement, of course, is the song we all know, "We Shall Overcome." As an activist myself for some 30 years, I very much understand how a group singing an emotionally moving song can bring the people together and give them a feeling of strength and oneness, certainly, of course. But the words of some of these activist songs have some very disempowered messages that are not closely examined. And here's somebody who wants to examine them now, Devi, my evil genius cat. So first, let's take a quick look at the origination of this song. There's a lot of discussion about how the song started, but most now agree that the concept was derived from a song written by a woman named Louise Shropshire called "If My Jesus Wills." Shropshire was an African-American Baptist choir director and the spiritual confidant of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and she copyrighted her song in 1954. But there are lots of earlier influences. Some mention African-American composer of the turn of the century, Charles Tindley, with his gospel song, "I'll Overcome Someday." Some say that influenced it. Others say that the melody of an old 19th century spiritual called "No More Auction Block for Me" influenced it. Whatever the case, Shropshire's song, "If My Jesus Wills," has the line, "If my Jesus wills, I do believe I'll overcome someday." So many people since have, of course, influenced the song in different ways. Pete Seeger very famously has sung this, Joan Baez, and many verses have been written. Some of the verses are, "We'll walk hand in hand someday. We shall all be free someday. We are not afraid someday," which sort of doesn't make sense, but also, "We are not alone someday. The whole wide world around someday. We're on to victory someday. The Lord will see us through someday. God is on our side." That's a newer verse. And they sing it, "God is on our side today." But all the other verses over and over, someday, someday. When is someday? You know, I don't know when someday is, and neither does anybody else. What I do know is it's not now. It might be some distant future, perhaps to be realized, but who knows? Someday. So metaphysically speaking, the energy of the word someday is actually a very disempowered vibration. To say something will happen someday is to say that it is not happening now, but we're hoping, we're yearning, we're longing for the day when it will be true. Stuart Wilde, that amazing metaphysical teacher who died in 2013, taught me that the emotional state of yearning is very victim, very weak, very disempowered. He said that when you yearned for something, it set up an energetic wave in front of you that kept pushing what you wanted, what you were yearning for, out in front of you, always out of reach. Like the proverbial donkey with a carrot on a stick. So what you yearn for, what you long for, you'll probably never have, because you are affirming that you don't have it, and you're waiting for it, and you're focusing on an energetic reality of, I'm waiting for this, this isn't happening now, I'm waiting for this sometime in the future. And so that's what you get. more waiting for the thing you're yearning for. So the line, "We shall all be free someday. We shall live in peace someday. We'll walk hand in hand someday," actually means that we are not doing these things now. And with the word someday, we are actually pushing farther away from us the possibility of these things manifesting in today's world right now. The words shall and someday both hold the linguistic principle of futurity. They are words of futurity, something happening in the future, something we hope or expect will happen in the future. So actually, the reality of this universe is that there is no future. The future is only a concept in the mind of humans that we made up to help us organize ourselves. It is a good organizing tool, but it's not a great place to manifest from. The future is not a real thing. It's a made-up concept. There actually is no past and no future. There is only now. So pinning your hopes on a someday, the future, which has no reality, is giving your energy to a state that actually is not real, that actually does not exist. And what is that? That is wasting your energy. And some may say, well, it's only a song, Ava. We live and die by the words we speak, sing, and affirm, and believe. They are the societal beliefs and myths that keep creating our world. That's why we have to look at them so carefully. So there's no past, there's no future, there's only now. We can deal with the now, the present moment, and certainly our thought forms, our focus, and our actions in the present moment do influence the ever unfolding next now moment. And that is what we can do, hold something in our minds now. So how do things come into physical being? Well, everything is birthed from the unseen world. I like to think of it as the womb of the Great Mother, if you will. It is already real there on that level, and we draw it into manifestation by focusing our attention strongly on what we desire. And that causes the idea to coalesce vibrationally into a denser state, which can then precipitate from the unseen world of non-physical concept into this seen world of physical form. So if we continue to repeat to ourselves in our thinking and our songs and our chants and our group consciousness, if we continue to repeat someday, someday, then the universe will just keep giving us that state of waiting for it to happen. And that's obviously not what we're going for. No, to draw that reality into our world now, we must recognize that on some level it already is, and we must say now, today. We overcome right now. We are free right now. We are not afraid right now. And even that is an issue. We should not use a negative because the universe only hears the subject of your sentence, your focus. So make it positive, not we are not afraid right now. We are courageous now. Same with we are not alone. Don't make your focus alone. Make it together. We are together right now. We have victory right now. We have the whole wide world around us right now. The Lord sees us through right now. We live in peace right now. So some may say, well, Ava, we're not living in peace right now, so your statement is just a lie. And that's actually not true. Yes, there seems to be a lot of not peace in our world right now, but we know it is another natural law of the universe that that which you focus on expands, tends to expand. And there are many people living in peace today. In fact, there's a great deal more peace on the planet than not. So let's focus on that, and let's let that expand, and let's let that influence those who are not in peace. Let's look at the word overcome. The dictionary, and I looked it up just a moment ago, says the definitions of overcome are to get the better of, to gain superiority over, to overwhelm, or to conquer. These are not phrases of oneness. There's only one of us, and that's our belief here at the Goddess Temple. That's what we teach, that's what we hold, that's what we're doing here. There is only one of us. This knowing, we believe, is the only path to peace. There is no path to peace by making groups of people other. In the focus for peace and justice for people of color, and let's not call it a fight for justice, because then we'll always be fighting. And let's not call it a struggle for civil rights, because then we'll always be struggling. In the focus on peace and justice, let's not make people other. Even people who disagree with us, even people we secretly think are just complete idiots. Okay, cancel that. Let's not think in terms of overcoming them. Now, some might say, well, we're actually talking about overcoming racism, not other people. But, the average person singing "We Shall Overcome," I think, I know in my mind, we automatically tend to go to the idea of we are overcoming other people who hold the wrong idea. And a phrase that might be more powerful and more in alignment with divine principle, the divine principle of oneness, might be, together we've gone beyond. Beyond means out of the reach of, surpassing. Doesn't have the connotation of conquering or gaining superiority over or doing anything by force. Together we've gone beyond. So instead of "we shall overcome," together we've gone beyond. Or perhaps, certainly lots of different versions, now we live in oneness. So instead of "we shall overcome," now we live in oneness. That which you focus on tends to expand. Continue focusing on overcoming, and energetically, you are continuing to focus on the struggle, the fight, the effort to gain superiority over someone, to conquer. And what is that actually? I think that's called war. So let's let go of the metaphors that claim that there is an enemy, the metaphors that say we are in a fight. Let's see the reality. There is only one of us, made up of seemingly many parts. Seemingly. I cut my finger yesterday. It really hurt. It's healing nicely already, but let's say for this discussion it didn't. Let's say it got infected and became seriously diseased. Would I sing to my finger longingly and with yearning, "I shall overcome, I shall be healed someday"? No. And I also wouldn't think of myself as being in a fight with my finger, in a struggle for the healing of my finger. I would not think of my sick finger as other, as something negative that I had to overcome. Finger, you're wrong, and you have to stop being sick, and you have to get it together someday. No. It's simply a part of me that I desire to be healed, and I know it is healing now. And so it is. So, like my finger is one with my body and cannot be separated from it, humanity is one body, and groups within that one body cannot be separated. Not really. Only in their own consciousness can they separate themselves. And that's an illusion that they're holding. So right now we have a part of our one body, the one that there is only one of, that is sick and needs healing. And we call that part racism, or, actually all isms. Actually, the sickness is patriarchy, that dominator-subject model of living. No group in humanity is other. They are not the enemy. It's all just about us, with a capital U. And the more we see it that way, the faster we will manifest healing in this reality. One verse that can really put us into a state of separation is, God is on our side. And, I always have to smile when I hear football teams praying to God to help them win against the other team. In our belief, God is oneness. God cannot take sides. There are no sides. There's only one of us. There are no sides. Some people would say, well, we're saying God is on the side of right. But that's not what the words actually say. The words are, God is on our side. We are a group, us, our, and there's another group, them, the enemy, the racists, the people who don't agree with us, the idiots. Once again, an us versus them mentality. This does not serve us. The principle of oneness, love, and beauty that I understand as God cannot take sides. There are no sides. There is only one of us. In all the universe, there is only one being breathing, living, creating, growing, birthing, evolving, experiencing, changing form. One being that is us. When we take sides, we separate ourselves into fake groups and we enter into a false paradigm that just continues the whole idea of we are at war with something and we want our side to win. And this is actually the essence of patriarchy, dividing us all up into sides and then pitting those sides against each other, each side using force to overcome the other. It's a big moneymaker. And it's self-perpetuating too, because it is also a principle in the universe that force inevitably, always, without fail, creates counterforce. So if you use force against something, you will create counterforce. That's why fighting wars means you never stop fighting wars. So how about instead of God is on our side, how about we sing God is all there is? Or at our temple, we might say Goddess is all there is. Same thing. When we realize that there are no sides, then there is no need for war, only a focus on oneness and love, which will bring healing, does bring healing right now. Then we'll begin to wash away this ugly paradigm of patriarchy with its us-them mentality that seems to be so predominant in the world right now. It was not always so. Human beings have not always been like this. There have been cultures, matriarchal cultures of peace and prosperity, where everyone saw themselves as one. When we realize there are no sides, there is no need for war, only a focus on oneness and love, which brings healing to any area which seems to be sick and ailing. When we focus in this way, we will begin to have some kind of power to wash away this ugly paradigm of patriarchy with its us-them mentality. We'll stop hating parts of ourselves, and we will have truly gone beyond. In sharing these ideas, I maintain the greatest respect for all civil rights leaders and workers throughout the ages. Their work is absolutely sacred to me, and even though I might have opinions about the words of some songs, I still, at the same time, hold the spirit of those songs to be sacred also. Civil rights leaders like the Kings did sacred work on behalf of all humanity, and I absolutely, completely honor them with all my heart, as I do all the people now engaged in this same sacred work today. And I bless and appreciate the good that these songs have done and how they have moved people and brought people closer together. That is a good thing. And I recognize that. So, beyond means out of the reach of racism, beyond all that. Not fighting with it, not contending with it, not struggling against it, not at war with it, just beyond it, out of its reach. We have gone beyond. We have gone beyond. We have gone beyond right now. Oh, deep in our heart, we do believe that we have gone beyond right now. So join us in Sunday services to honor Coretta Scott King. We'll be connecting with this great eternal soul who overcame so much in her own life, and we shall be welcoming her help with our own challenges as women in our lives today. All good power to you. Blessed be.